So hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Roberta Robbins. For those of you that have joined and don't know me, I am situated in my life right now in Ontario, though quite often when there is traveling in the world, you can find me in Peru. You can find me in Ireland and England, it seems. But like everybody, we're kind of a little more homebound right now. So I'm here in my hometown, and today I have a very special guest with me that's going to be supporting and helping and adding magic to our forecasting call, which is Kasia Rachfall. She's here with me. There she is. And so I'm just going to do a quick little intro just about myself, and then Kasia, you're going to come in and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into our forecast. So welcome. Thank you for everybody has joined that's here live on the call with us today. I find these are really important times, and I would think that for those that are here on the call and that will be watching on replay, that you feel is important for us to slow down and take note of this lovely eclipse season, summer solstice, new moon. There's just so much going on. And so my intention and the way I work in life personally for myself, but also supporting others in groups and one-on-one sessions and with programs and all the ways that I do my magic out in the world, is making sure that I personally am very grounded into what's happening in the cosmos, what is happening here within the land, within our seasons, so that I can regulate myself, my body, my energy. I'm aware when things are rising up, if I'm not sleeping as well, if I've things from the past are coming up, aches and pains, like there's like so many things that kind of get flared up, especially during these eclipse seasons and the changing of the season itself, even the changing of our zodiac season. So I finding connecting with moon cycles, connecting with what is astrologically happening, and also numerology, which is why I have my special guest with me today. The last year and a half, I've been tapping more deeply into numerology along with my astrology. So with this, I love to be able to share this to help support everybody through these times. And I know we get pieces, right? Like we're reading stuff ourselves, we're following other posts, and we're taking calls like this, we're dropping into Sacred Circle, so many things, right? We're embodying it within our own sacred medicine. So it's just really good, I think, when you have so much, as you're going to discover if you don't already know it, we have so much going on right now that's good just kind of settle into the bigger picture of it all and how it's connecting. So along with going through the moon, going through the eclipse, going through the energy of the solstice, the numerology of what's happening this year, this month, these days that we are in right now, we hope this will give you some support and guidance. I'm going to be talking about some self-care, some rituals that you could be doing, activities that you could be doing for this summer solstice. Now, you'll hear me keep saying summer solstice instead of winter solstice, just because I'm in the northern hemisphere, as probably the majority of you guys here on this call are. So of course it's winter solstice with those in the southern hemisphere. It's so lovely. I'm just taking a moment to look down here at my screen, all the lovely faces, and especially see my friend Joe, that's all the way on the West Coast. Hello, hello. So Kasia, tell us about you a bit and what you're going to do today.
Sure. So I'm Kasia. I live in Kelowna, and so I'm sort of close to the West Coast, not quite there. That's in BC. And I love to play with numerology. I've been a student in numerology for a few years now. And what I find it helps me do the most is land into like the basics, the fundamentals, to remind me not just about who I am meant to be rather than who I've learned to be, but also figure out the lay of the land, meaning, the energy for the day, the energy for the month, even the year. So I do that on a general in a general sense. And also I do my own personal forecasting and forecasting for my clients. So we can take a look at, your upcoming week or your upcoming year and the windows of opportunity that are there, what your main, I guess, lessons or themes are that you want to pay attention to so that you can feel more masterful in your own life. In my work, I work as a mentor and a healer and a coach for spiritual entrepreneurs, specifically those who have a desire to be really well known for the work they do in the world. So people who are really wanting to take up space in the world and use their voice authentically and with personal power. And of course, when you're that visible, you have to have a strong inner foundation for your emotions and your thoughts and really know how to handle your own energy. So these tools help me to, for me to remind myself of who I am and what I'm here to do, but also allow me to hold that space for my clients. One of the other tools that I love so much, and this are the Akashic records. And this is a tool that I've been working with. It's got to be 5 years now. I'd have to do the math. Because my son's going to be 18 this year, and I started when he was 13. And the records are something that found me. If you're not familiar with the term Akashic records, it's basically like the cosmic library or the vibrational archive of the universe. And so I've learned how to tap into that. I teach a class on how you can read your own records. It's helped me to finish healing in my life. And so right now, as I'm sitting here with you all holding space, I also have my own records open, and I asked to have access to the collective records. So I'm hoping that, at the end or whenever, if anyone has a question or something, we can go in there and see what comes through, what kind of wisdom wants to be shared. So that's a little bit about me.
And thank you. Thank you for joining all of us and being here. And Kasia and I are working on some magic together. So hopefully you guys will be coming to join us over the next few months as we share some of the things that we do, the magic that we have that is important to us and how it's working for us in our life, but also that we hope that these are tools that you guys will weave in. And that's part of what my medicine is, that I have all these tools that I've been learning and picking up and working with for myself. And then my goal is to help you guys understand what those are for you, what's working for you, what's not, and how are they weaving in your life to help you on your journey to return fully, wholly back to your soul self. So how I'm going to work this call is, there is a lot of information. I do have notes, as some of you might have heard at the beginning, in front of me, just to kind of keep me on track. But what I'm doing is I'm connecting in with my spirit team, with divine, with source, to make sure that we're filtering in and channeling in the information that is the most important. Connecting in with each of you that have felt called to be here on this call, to connect in through the replay, or whatever form and method that you feel called to receive guidance for you guys today. So because there's so much, we're trusting that whatever's the most important for all of us will come in as we go through this. So, how's everybody actually doing? I just want to give me a thumbs up if you're on screen. Like, are you doing good? Or is it a thumbs down? Or are we kind of like a wiggly wobbly kind of thing going on today? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Awesome. Joe, how are you doing? Thumbs up? Perfect. So everybody's kind of feeling, which is fantastic. But I think, the majority of us are feeling actually really, I would say, I feel kind of pumped, my energy today, which is great, because we are in a sandwich of an eclipse season right now. We have, we're starting, like today is like the starting of this weekend of this summer solstice, solar eclipse, new moon in Cancer, and us leaving Gemini season, to move into Cancer season. We are in the middle, like a sandwich of eclipse season, because we already had a full moon in Sagittarius lunar eclipse about 2 weeks ago. And in 2 weeks from now, we're going to have another full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. But also what happens 2 weeks after that one, we get another new moon in Cancer, which is what we're having this weekend. So we're having 2 new moons in Cancer, which is important to be aware of. So we're getting the double energy of what Cancer is about. And I'm the Cancer season, and I'm going to talk about the energies and the fields of all, like what we're moving into, what to expect, what medicine and wisdom is wanting our attention. And to say, like, this eclipse seasons are always powerful, right? Like, we take note of them typically. But because we have 3, and because the kind that we're having within this new moon in Cancer on a solar summer solstice weekend, it is the most powerful eclipse that we're having of 2020. So make note, even though they're all powerful, they're all gifting us with something. This weekend's is the most potent. It's going to have the most expansive and transformational energy. Not to say the other ones don't, because they're all working together, they're all supporting. And the other thing that we have going on is we have a lot of planets in retrograde. So when planets are in retrograde, that is not anything to be feared, because Mercury, as we all mostly know about Mercury going retrograde, some of us go, oh dear Lord, we want to go hide. No, don't go hide. It's good medicine for the soul. It wants us to slow down and reflect, right? So Mercury just went retrograde yesterday, guys. This one's supposed to be a little bit more gentle. I'm going to say it's probably a little more gentle for us because there's so much surrounding it that's taken the spotlight, which is quite a possibility why it's also a little bit more gentle, but it's also realistically, it's more gentle because it's in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is a water sign. It's the first of, when we dance around the wheel of the zodiac wheel, the astrological wheel of the year, this is our first time coming to a water sign. And the Cancer sign is about going with the flow. It is the mother archetype and motherhood. It's about gentleness, beauty, nurturing. Okay, so that's, why I think this Mercury retrograde that we're now in, starting as of yesterday to July 12th, it will be a little more gentle because of where it's sitting right now at this time of the year. So most of you are aware of we talk about the Mercury, but like I said, there's a lot of other planets that have been in retrograde. So I just want to talk about a couple of them, but just to let you know, we have Pluto in retrograde. We have Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, and Neptune is going retrograde on Monday, the 22nd. So just know that. The good news is Venus, the planet of love, of self-care, of nurturing, of relationships, she is going to start to go direct on the 24th of June. So she's going to be turning direct soon. So that meaning we've just spent, since I think it was around May 12th when Venus went retrograde, we started to get the medicine, the wisdom to drop into our self-love and our self-care, to look at the relationships, our partnerships that are in our lives, what is working for us, what needs more care, what areas that we've maybe been overexpending with ourselves, and what needs to come back for ourselves. So we've actually been doing some work since May 12th with Venus being in her retrograde. So now she's going to start to move forward. So that, instead of it being in the internal world work, we're going to start to have it more out externally moving. So the other thing I want to talk about, so Neptune, like I said, guys, is the 22nd. You know, when I was reading about the Neptune, you know, it's going in with the energy of what this big weekend is about. And it's about us closing a door in our lives. So there's a big theme weaving through the fact that it's new moon, solar eclipse, and the summer solstice. Neptune going retrograde is going to help us close the door on a part of our lives that has possibly been traumatic, an old journey, old relationships, old things that have helped us become who we are. But the way it's going to help us close that door is to bring it into light and love. So you might find that there'll be old patterns and old stories and it possibly, you know, childhood stuff that you're now realizing your beliefs and ideas have shifted, and they've shifted into love and compassion. And that you are ready to move that storyline into light and love so that you can therefore release it. So to release it in that way. So Neptune's going to help you with that. The other thing with the planets, before I go into other stuff, is I just want to talk about Mars. Mars is in its last journey of a 2-year journey. Mars is about that energy, the masculine, the doing, right, type energy. But right now it's been in Pisces. What that means is it's at the end of the zodiac dance around the zodiac, ending in Pisces, Pisces being the last one. Pisces is a water sign too, and it's gentle and nurturing. And so right now, Mars hasn't had a lot of fire. It's been kind of diluted a little bit. But we just want to realize that Mars will be entering into Aries, which means it's just going to be, the importance of this, what you should know is that Mars is about to start a new journey for the next 2 years. So here again is a theme that's saying a new journey is about to start. We just had a 2-year journey with Mars and what that was meaning to us. And it's not that you have to really go in and go, Roberta, I don't know what that means for all my signs. If you're not into all the natal stuff, just know there's another energy that's saying we are completing a journey to start a new one right now. We're completing a journey with Neptune going retrograde to help us release some old stuff. We are completing a journey from spring over to summer. It's an initiation weekend with the eclipse. So let me go into now just a bit about the eclipse this weekend. So all the eclipses are powerful. They're moving us through stuff. They're in initiation. And this one's very much an initiation into a new life, a new start. Because we have so many other things that are clearing out for us that says it is time to move into not the next chapter, but the next book, your next story. It's time to leave behind the mundane muggles type life and embrace that spiritual soul life that, you know, you have been feeling and working on, right? You've been working on the journey of your life, of the life, you know, the 3D of all of our lessons, and you've been feeling and bridging your spiritual soul life, right? You're working with that, and you're always going to be working with that because we're humans. We're here. We've chosen to be here live as humans right now in the 3D tangible world, but the energy that's lifting and raising, like rising on this planet, is for us all to start to live together and into the spiritual, soulful side of ourselves. So we're moving more into that 5D, 7D, and you don't have to know all about that. Just know that there's this rising of our vibration, our awareness, our evolution, and the returning and feeling our connection to our spiritual soul selves. But that also means beyond us, right? That we feel that connection with all of us. Everyone that's here, we're going to start to feel each other, that we're all rising up in a different way and letting go of the heaviness of that 3D realm and the old paradigm. So solstice weekend, the sun is bright and illuminating, lighting the way. We're leaving spring behind. We're moving into summer, the initiation of that, of the light. We have the solar eclipse, which where we live, we're not going to be seeing this one in the northern hemisphere areas, but we know it's happening. The energy is happening. And coming in with it, as the wheel turns, as I like to say when I talk about the Sabbath, this is a solar festival when it's a solstice. As the wheel turns, as the season turns, we are also having that new moon. And it's an interesting new moon because, like I said, we're going to have the exact same energetic new moon astrologically next month too. But what's really important and special and echoing again, I mean, if anything you guys leave with this after this call, the echoing of the initiation, the new beginning, the new start, and the rising up. So it's echoing again because this new moon comes in at Cancer, a 0 point at Cancer. So you don't have to understand all the degrees, but know that it's a 0 point, meaning it's an inception point. It is a new birthing point, along with the layering of this summer, right, solstice, and this solar eclipse sandwiched by these full moon eclipse that are around us. So I just want, for those that are still on the camera, can you see the weaving of like a really strong, extra powerful theme here? Not just one thing, two things, or three things. We got like so many things saying, hey, it is time for a new story. So what else do I want to say before we go into a bit of the numerology and then the other stuff? Dates and times. For those of you that are maybe like me who really like to know when the peak energy turning is of some of these, summer solstice, now I'm talking Eastern time, so Toronto time, say. Summer solstice arrives officially at 5:43 p.m. on Saturday. We have that new moon, and they're calling it mega new moon, happening at 11:41 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, we leave Gemini season to Cancer season right at that's when summer solstice arrives, which is that 5:43 p.m. Eastern. So just some numbers in case, or times I should say, for those of you that like to really anchor into the power of that. But when it comes to these things, know that we actually start to feel yesterday on the 18th of June, the energy was building. So typically 2 days before and the 2 days after these major astrological events, whether full moon, new moons, the eclipse season, the power of the turning, we feel it kind of like a 5-day way that you can work with it still. So know that you don't have to work with these energies right at those times. You have that space. But it's good to know this, to give yourself lots of space for self-care and nurturing and what you need. Space that you might need as things are moving through you. Okay, there's more to be shared, but I think you guys got at least the overview of the highlights of how important and major things are happening. So for now, I'm going to have a pause here before I go into other stuff for you guys. And we're going to go over to Kasia, and she's going to talk about the numerology of this time.
Cool. So there's a couple different systems of numerology that I work with, and Roberta's also, initiated into those, so you can definitely chime in. I look at the universal day energy, which we can take the date, like let's say today, add it up, reduce it down to a single digit number, and it adds up to a 2. So Roberta said that the influence of all of this amazing cosmic magic started yesterday, which was a universal day 1. And of course, 1, even without knowing anything about numerology, you can sort of intuit that it's the beginning, right? It's fresh energy, it's starts, growth. I always think of it as a springtime energy, and yet here we are at the door of summer. And so we started on a 1 day, which is the first, beginning of a manifestation cycle. And then here we are today on a 2 day. And 2 is all about connection. And then when I pull my forecasting cards, it's interesting because the energy is pointing to, I pulled 2 7s, and so I won't get into like what that means, but I love that you use the word doorway, Roberta, because that is exactly what the forecast is telling me, is we are in this doorway, and it's a very active doorway. There's energy that is more passive in terms of more internal, where we can sift through, our thoughts, our beliefs, all of that, expectations. The energy for today and then for this weekend is very much active. So it's like whatever values you have right now in your life, for yourself, for your family, your work, for the world, if you were to amp those up and step into a higher level of those values, how would you then live those? Like actually tangibly live those and turn them into a verb. So if love is your highest value, how do you then turn that into a verb? So we're not just like love and light, everybody, yay. It's not about that anymore. So the energy is this feisty, like, let's do this. And we don't have to know how we're going to change the world, because, that will happen as long as each of us is connected within and doing love in our own life as best as we can. That anchors us into that frequency, which then drives how we feel, drives our behavior, and we then ripple that out into the world. So we've got this real powerful energy today of 2 to connect in with ourselves, to connect with the people who matter most to you, connect with the causes or whatever that is that matters most to you. What connections do you want to bring forward through this powerful doorway? Then tomorrow we go into a 3-day energy, and 3 is this flamboyant celebration, expression. It's all about just expressing out. So whatever you anchor into today will want to come out tomorrow. And again, it's not about knowing exactly how am I going to live for the rest of my life, because it's like that's really overwhelming. It's more about, okay, if my highest value is, let's say, love and integrity, and for me it's love, integrity, fun, and peace. Okay, so if those are my highest values, I'm going to connect with those in today and really sit in that. And I've got, for this weekend, I've got my mother, my grandmother, and my daughter at home with me. So I've got 4 generations of us anchoring this beautiful doorway energy. And so I don't know what we're going to do. We're probably going to eat a lot. But besides that, it just feels powerful to have all of us. And so how can I do love and integrity and peace within this sphere of my family first, so that we are solid, so that then that ripples out, and tomorrow, how are we going to express that love? How are we going to express that integrity? 3 is also about, nurturing and pleasure and laughter, and the high side of that energy is really bringing together groups, bringing together things that matter. So it's like a higher level of connection. All of this weekend is all about higher level values that when we land into them, we will never go back to the old way, because we will have landed into this beautiful, you know, higher knowing. It's almost like, so when I work within the records, I get a lot of imagery. And so I think I'm getting an image that I want to talk through. What I'm seeing is all of our cells in our body. They show me them as little tiny balls of like glass. It's like whatever we want to land into, all the old is being wiped out of the bottom. So if you can imagine, you know, a cosmic person, a cosmic energy wiping out each of your cells with a cloth, a beautiful cloth, and then creating that space within each of our cells to land into something new. And because the old is being wiped out, it will no longer play a part. So that's tomorrow. It's this celebration. And so, you know, no matter what you end up doing for solstice, even if you don't see anybody, because, you know, we're still doing COVID, I think. I don't know, because there's so much going on, right? So there might be restrictions, but how would you celebrate if it was just you, yourself, and you? How would you want to express your highest values to yourself first, so that can then ripple out into the world, right? Everything is energy. And so how we feel and think goes out, whether we see it or not. So I invite you to really celebrate, like fun, like, and I know Roberta and I talked about this the other day, like fun for me is like work. I really got to work at fun, because it's not inherently something that I'm like naturally good at. So that would be my focus, is like, okay, so how can I make today extra fun? Not just because my family's here, but just because I want to have fun too. So as much as this is about, you know, world changing and putting out there as this change we want to create, it has to start within, right? It has to start inside us. So make it about you so that you can make it about the world. And then Sunday is we're landing into energy 4 day, and 4 is 2020 is a 4-year. So when we look at that, 2020 has above all shown us where we have cracks in our foundation, right? The craving of a 4 is stability. If we're not stable, if we are wobbly in any way, shape, or form, we're gonna figure that out real quick. Right? The humanity has gotten to this place where we cannot continue on the foundation that we have built our world on. And that is a really big idea. But again, on Sunday, it becomes all about ourselves. So you might find, you know, coming off of this day of celebration, you might find you have the best day ever. You might feel really solid and grounded and yeah, like just solid. So that's wonderful. If you don't, it's an invitation to look at, okay, wonderful. So I have these values. I want to turn them into verbs. I want to be love. I want to be light. I want to be peace. Where can I land more into that? What pieces of my personal foundation do I want to strengthen? Do I want to fortify, build up, so that I can then be this personal foundation for the rest of the world? Does that make sense? So it's always an inside out process. And we've got this amazing confluence of all these energies that are like, it's almost like a tornado spinning down, and we get to, each of us individually gets to be at the eye of that tornado, not in chaos, but focused on ourselves and elevating ourselves. And like, I think this is unprecedented astrological stuff happening. I don't know as much about astrology. I know next to nothing about astrology, but from what Roberta said, it was like all these planets are doing all this cool stuff. And so how can we leverage that? And the only way that we can leverage that is by going within and working with that energy. Now, I also want to say, if you find that you have some wobble happening, whether it started yesterday or perhaps today, tomorrow and Sunday. Energy is a spectrum. It's like a stick, right? There's two ends to every stick. And so there's the high side and the low side. If you find yourself more on the low side, there's a couple things that could be happening. And I just want to, and I'm happy to share this document with you after. I can send it to Roberta. There's 6 core needs that could be wanting to get your attention so that you can, again, love yourself more through them. And those are awareness, contribution, love, certainty, growth, and uncertainty. And if any one of those needs isn't being met for you, like if you don't feel like you have enough growth in your life at this moment, or you want more love, or you want more certainty, the energy is going to highlight that. And so I'll share this with you because it's just too much to go through. I don't want to take up all the time. There's questions you can ask yourself. There's processes you can do with yourself to fulfill that need for yourself so that you are stable and you can then take that stability and these higher level values out into the world. What else? I don't know. I feel like I covered the weekend. I could go on for hours about this stuff, but
yeah, I think that's the thing. We both could probably make this a 3-hour, deal together. We really could. So we're here though we're happy for you guys to reach out to us and send us some messages if you want to know a little bit more. And plus, when I send out the email later on for you guys with the replay, I'll be adding, of course, my contact and Kasia's contact, and we're here because we're living it. We're in it with you guys, and we both have this desire to make sure that we're all like doing the best. Like, this is important stuff right now, and it's about us all helping each other and supporting each other through this. So that's the intention, right? So that was thank you for that. I love how the numbers, I mean, could they be more divinely lined up to what's actually going? Like, you just can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
And like, yeah, and with 3, with the energy like building and the amplifying of it, and that's exactly what the solstice happening tomorrow, the sun, the celebration, all of it is about that energy building. And as when we look at the wheel of the year medicine, that's what's coming in. We want to harness, we want to celebrate and bring in the light, the sun, the joy, the beauty. And we want to bring it into ourselves, into our body, and help anything that needs to be like cleaned out. Almost like thinking, and this could be like an activity that you do, is thinking of like going outside, being with the sun and calling down. For those of you that might draw down the moon, you're going to draw down the sun and think of it as like a seasonal cleaning, clearing, sweeping. We think of spring as our cleaning, sweeping out our homes and doing our smudging and letting go of stuff. So this is just another way, a very powerful, potent energy that's coming in. So it's that mindfulness of it as we bring it into our body and bring it through any areas, any thoughts, energies, emotions, anything and anywhere in your life, like spreading it out to be enlightened and to increase that vibration. And now this weekend, of course, with it all, we are going to be experiencing a lot of energy. There's a lot of just like natural, like light coding that's coming in. There's like all of the stuff that's helping us, whether you are aware of it or not. But typically what's happening when people start getting things like, I'm not sleeping well, your energy you might feel like you're untethered a bit, you're uneasy, the aches, pains, extra emotional, any of these things, is because there's stuff that's coming in trying to get your attention and trying to move out to help you regulate into the new. So this week, and for self-care, it's really important that you do take time for yourself and be gentle with yourself if you're going through any of these things that are coming in. And they're here to they want you to take note of what it is that's rising. So if it's emotions and old thought patterns, if old people from your past comes into your life, take note. Solar eclipse are about the present, our present time, being obscured by the past. And that it's an opportunity for something from the past to possibly rise up and to be reviewed and to be resolved. So give space and time to nurture that if those things happen. The other thing I want to talk about, another key, really top one right now, along with that beginning of that new chapter, is how powerful right now our thoughts and our emotions are. And we have to be very clear about what it is we are actually wanting, what we are wanting to call in for our lives, because it's going to manifest very quickly. So this is a time to clear out the old stuff that's like, oh wow, that's a really old thought pattern, or that doesn't even suit me anymore, or that part's not even big enough anymore, that dream, that thought. I'm going to the next one, going up and beyond. So get very clear and take some time this weekend to gift yourself, to go within, to hear and feel, to clear out, to bring in what is new. And, new moons are typically about that new beginnings, the setting the intention, right? But this new moon's going to feel like a fiery, big, bright full moon in some ways, because it's going to have still like a duality as we're letting go of Gemini, that has that kind of energy of duality as we go into Cancer. And it's just that it's so powerful that we may have the energy and go, wow, I wouldn't even think it's like a new moon out there. I feel like the energy is affecting me like a full moon does. And you might feel like, well, I just want to burn some shit, which is great to have a bonfire, guys, because that's one of the activities for summer solstice. But you actually might get a feeling of like that releasing, writing, burning, letting go, which we feel sometimes with a full moon. We hear that about the full moons. But it's because of its being solstice and a solar eclipse, giving it that brand new fiery energy start, so that that new moon energy, the watery, emotional, is very clean and very pure as you go forth. So some of the things I don't think I mentioned, probably most of you might know, but eclipse seasons run, the effects of them run for 6 months to 18 months. Okay. I also want to say we are actually, so this eclipse season is canceling out, like we're finishing from the eclipse season back in 2018. We're clearing out like a cycle right now. So you might even want to look back to see how the energetic cycles have been, say for the last 18 months or so of your life. That might give you some direction to what's closing out and what's moving forward for you. I'm like, I just want to make sure I get some really key points out before we go into some questions. Yeah, we're still, for those of you, I know some of you have been with me with some of the other stuff I've been doing since the portal opened and our last full moon. There is still the energy right now is that things aren't clear. We don't know for sure. We're still in a bit of like the fogginess, and we will be for a little while. But that you feel, you know something new is happening and coming. And it's about you trusting in yourself. And Kasia was talking about, it's about that anchoring in and trusting in yourself that it is working, that there is something happening. And it's about rising up and above into your soul self, your higher self, to actually see more clearly, not this physical, muggle mundane world. But that you can't push it right now. So no pushing. If you are getting the feeling you need to get going on something and push an agenda, this is not the time right now. It's the time just to be and slow down. And Mercury retrograde is telling us, slow down, go within, right? Listen to yourself. This Cancer season, as we're going in, is reminding us that we are safe in our souls. We are safe in ourselves. We are safe in our home. And asking us, what is our home? What is true to you? Okay, so what is true to you? Neptune's going to be helping you with that when he goes retrograde. Yeah, excellent time to be connecting in with the solar plexus this weekend. So bring yourself back into yourself. Always give a little time and energy for the heart, right? Where are you within your heart space? But that power center into our solar plexus, and also rising up into the crown, right? So we can get that higher soul wisdom. So we are returning back to our soul truth. Our soul truth. Solar eclipses are 100,000 times more powerful than a typical new moon. So they happen on new moons, solar. 100,000 times powerful effect. When we have the lunar, it's 1,000 times. So this, once again, is telling us this is a super powerfully charged weekend. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I have, I might be sharing it over the weekend, some other things for you guys. So overall, new timeline, new stories, new, not chapter, new full book, wanting to be started for yourself, getting very clear, celebrating what needs to be celebrated for yourself, clear on your focus, your intention, so because it's going to manifest very fast. And yeah,
I just want to add too, if that's okay, because what the records are like, I need you to say this, subtle points. So as you're going through this powerful time this weekend and you're leaning into all the energies, what you might find is subtle attachments that you still have rise up to the surface. Probably all of us on this call and anyone who's watching the replay has been working on ourselves obsessively for a long time, right? And so in the beginning, when you start working on yourself, you overcome big things and you have these, wow, that felt good. Oh, I healed that, or I healed this. We are now in this time of, if you can think of healing and personal growth as carving a statue out of marble, you are no longer chiseling off massive chunks of marble. You are polishing with fine grit sandpaper or steel wool. And so it's very subtle. So it might be a thought, it might be a small belief system or a small attachment or a small judgment. And it's okay that those are still there because we are still human. We're still doing this human thing. And as you notice those things this weekend and moving forward, love yourself more for that. Like, give yourself extra kindness, extra grace, because this isn't the right way to say it, that you've earned it, but because you never have to earn anything, right? You fully are love, and it's your birthright to be joyful and happy. But if you want to see it this way, as you've done the work already, So just because something small is coming up doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. Nothing. This is mastery. This is the road of self-mastery. My son is a karate kid. He got his black belt 2 years ago, and it was exhilarating and painful because it was nitpicky. It was like, put your finger here and move your toe this way and suck in this muscle. And it was like little tiny, tiny, tiny subtle adjustments. That's the period of time. So extra kindness, extra love for yourself, because as the world is going to wake up even more, and it's going to be a rude awakening for many people in the world, we are going to be holding the space and anchoring the light and remembering what it was like to be waking up. So if you can be kind for yourself when you have these tiny little subtle adjustments to make, letting go of tiny subtle attachments, you will have more grace and kindness for the people who are just starting to chisel away the marble.
Yeah. And I want to add to that for those of you, because a lot of you on this call are healers, are coaches, caregivers, nurturers, all that, right? Like, you're usually there for a lot of people. It's important for our boundaries, like to know what our healthy boundaries are. And because things are waking up and people are going through a lot, my suggestion this weekend, because I've already started to notice this with some people in the last few days, things are, for some, are kind of going a little crazy, if to put it lightly. You got to look after yourself. Okay, you got to create some space and time for yourself and give yourself permission to know that is exactly what you're needing, and not to overextend yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to feel this weekend without being so much there for everybody else. I just felt like I was hearing, like, tell them, remind them to come back and nurture themselves. Do what you need to, that you feel that you have the energy for others, but really don't overextend yourself. Come home to yourself. Get outside. This is self-care. Get outside. Do things that make you happy, that increase your vibration. Connecting with breathing techniques, reminding yourself that you are safe within your body, within your soul, within your home. Exactly where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Stay open to what is wanting to get your attention. And also to make sure that you do face it. This is not the time to sweep things away, but just take note of them and be gentle with them and face them with the beauty of your personal power and wisdom that you are. Okay? Gentleness, compassion. Do activities that soothe your body, soul, and mind. And also the calming of the nervous system right now. Do things that soothes and calms the nervous system. Take time to release when you feel like there is something that needs to be released, to do what you need to do. Healing work for yourself, burning stuff in a bonfire, anything like that. Exhaling out, whatever you might need. But make sure that when stuff is percolating out and it wants to be released, expand it out, that you take the time to nurture that and give it that space. As I've already said, be very clear about your thoughts, feelings, your energetic body, because things are manifesting very clearly and quickly. And focus on what feels correct and right for you. What is home for you? Because Cancer season also is the archetype and the energy of home, nurturing. So I will be sending all this recording out, and Kasia has a PDF or something she's going to send me. I'll make sure I'll attach that. I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a lot. Take some time with it. Let us know. Give us feedback. What you felt was helpful, or something. Any other stuff that you're like, oh, I'd like to know a little bit more about this. We'd love to hear that. I have a few more minutes to take any questions. Cash, do you have a few minutes before we?
I can stay on a couple minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to close stop the recording from this point forward. So once again, thank you. I will be adding, like I said, our contacts information, everything like that. So as I close the recording off, thank you for all that have joined in with this forecast, and enjoy this beautiful, powerful solstice, eclipse, new moon weekend. Bye for now, guys.